suppose in the 18-year history of our show, we've never had any star who's won such affectionate acceptance.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
They were big. They were hitting hard too, man.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Broaden the areas of participation for women.
That sounds very stylish.
What is my problem? What do you think?
Beat sitting home watching television?
Hello, how's everyone going today? Happy hump day, I think. Yeah. I spent a wonderful day out on the water. Hopefully I didn't get too much sun, although I still look like an albino. So yeah, I'm probably good. But yeah, hopefully we have a good show here. We're here to talk about an excellent comic book, Rock and Roll Ninja. Probably one of my favorite books this year so far. Very entertaining. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the story, the art, the characters, everything. And maybe this stream will be a little spicy, but who knows? Let's go ahead and bring on my guest of honor here. Let's bring him on with this, since he kind of he likes to put the slap down on people. Let's bring him in with this.
Oh my God!
Yeah, good old pimp slap.
Horrible. Hitting a woman. That's
I don't condone violence on anybody, not women. But yeah, I just thought, get a little spicy here.
Sure.
You have been known, I think you said the other day, to kick the hornet's nest.
I do. Whenever
don't shy away from speaking your mind. So.
Yeah. Hey guys, watch this. What the fuck did you just do?
And then
Run!
Slap the hornets a little bit, call them a bitch, and then
yeah. It's fun to kind of do something and then just kind of watch everybody's reaction.
Yeah, I picture you in that Elmo gif with the meme, where Elmo's just like and everything's burning,
Yeah.
But yeah, we've kind of known each other for a while. You used to hang out on 80s Made streams.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
That's where I had the pleasure of meeting you and discovering your artwork and everything. And
meeting you, I thought you were pretty cool. I thought you were honest in all your takes. That's when like Malin was like, who should I send these books out? Who's honest? Like you're the first one that I was like, yo, send one to Abra.
Well, I appreciate that. It's
no
nice
problem.
to have someone in your corner. And yeah, like that's the one thing I feel with you, Matt. Like you will always, you're always on the straight and narrow. You will, say your peace of mind there. And I appreciate, if I step out of line, I hope.
That's fine. Yeah,
like,
everything is on Front Street, right? Like you absolutely know like how I feel about you. Like there's never like you don't have to waste your time. You know what I mean? Like if you think there's a problem, like there's definitely like you'll know. Like I'll say something,
I'm just one of those that I know I'm naive. I can't help it. I'm singing Kumbaya here in my little room, and I'm like,
yeah,
can't we all just get along? Damn it. I'm
from like corporate art.
Yeah.
I'm from like the corporate art world where like you're dealing with other artists, you're dealing with sales, sometimes you're dealing with corporate, and it's like it's cutthroat.
Yeah.
People are constantly like trying to like undermine you and make you look good in front of somebody else. You know what I mean? And so you just over 20 plus years, you just like don't put up with any like passive aggressive shit in meetings. You just instantly like just chop somebody up real quick. You know what I mean? Because it's
the
just
corporate
like
world's no joke. I have a close family that is part of like the higher echelon of. He's been in a couple different corporations, and I mean they'll take you to lunch one afternoon and fire you the next morning. I mean, if you're not producing work, if you're not towing the line or whatever, they'll just
that's why I mean Rock and Roll Ninja was a little late, but that's only because of my corporate deadlines. Like those are in those are pretty insane deadlines. And you're on like this like list that they have. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, we need some storyboards for XYZ. Okay, let's go to our list. All right, Matt Bahr is on the list. Okay, go to Matt Bahr. You know what I mean? And so you just make sure you stay at the top of the list by hitting your deadlines and producing like exactly what they want, if not more.
Right. Well, I mean, you do a lot with, you've done stuff like going back to the corporate thing. Like you've been doing stuff with, I think, ESPN. You've done stuff with NATO, didn't you? Or
fuck, I wish it was NATO. That would have been cool. It was fucking the United Nations.
Oh, okay. So
but
I mean, it's still like a really huge organization.
It's pretty big. I mean, that's where like the whole like the globalist jab comes from. Like when people call me a globalist saw, it's because I did the United Nations. I did that book for him. Which was like,
I think your boy Zach even said one time, like even death row people need toothpaste, right? So I mean, it's you're producing a product.
Do they, motherfuckers on death row? Do they
die? They could die from like an
infection. Yeah, eat your own feet. Yeah, use feces to brush your teeth, assholes. You're on death row for a reason. It was like sustainable goals, which like the year that we were doing it, they were like, hey, let's do comic books for each of the sustainable goals. And it didn't work out. So like the next year they brought out that Greta von Thorntonberg chick. So they were like, okay, well, comics didn't work this year. So let's bring out this fucking shrill little chicken to like cluck at everybody.
Yeah,
so
she was an odd one. Like of all the kids, of all the people to pick, that's gonna be your go-to representative. Some like little bratty, whingy brat, just
Yeah, I mean,
she hasn't even lived. I wanted to slap her just like that intro there. Like
they like, I have friends, I have friends in New York, I have friends all over. So one of them's at a party, they're talking to a guy from the UN, and they're like, yeah, we're doing this series of comic books. And my friend is like, well, I know somebody who could draw really well. Like, you should contact them. And that's literally how that UN thing happened.
Yeah.
So like the UN guy called me and was like, hey, can you draw comic books? And I was like, I've never drawn one, but I could totally do it. Here's some drawings and shit. And he was like, okay, cool. Well, can you write it and also color it and like do everything else? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I mean, I don't know. That
word of mouth thing is nice.
It's like 24 pages. It reads like an old Marvel comic book. There's like a guy who has powers from like this inner Earth spirit, and he fights a guy with like pinchers who's called the Claw. Like it's
Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Well, I mean, no, like there's like these lumberjacks. There's like a lumberjack equipment that it's like an arm that goes out and
and then
chops
it
the tree,
and then the thing comes out and just like
fucking turns it into turns it into like a telephone pole in like seconds, right? It's just
instantly.
Like, fuck you. So I was like, damn, that'd be crazy if like you had this apparatus that had two of them. So this guy is. So the goal was land, and it was about like land rights, like Native American land rights. So we did it in the Aztec, like in the Amazon, and somebody feeds this guy intel that there's like these really nice redwood trees that he could chop down and sell in the black market, but it's on this indigenous land. And so when he shows up, our guy, the Gridiron Green, is already there. And so then they dude, it's a fucking stupid ass name. As soon as I showed up, I was like, can we change the fucking name?
Is he the bad guy or the good guy?
He's the good guy because he's there protecting the Native Americans' rights to their land.
So does he like the people that are trying to come in and maybe clear cut the forest? Does he just grab them up and?
It's not even it's like he's sitting there in a village. Like you could find this comic book online for free, but he's like sitting in the village and he's like setting up some sensors to he's talking to the Native American or to the Amazon Indians, which is like I ended up like suing the UN because it was it got insane. And like the insanity part was like, hey, we're gonna use Amazon Indians. Yeah, what Indians are you gonna use? Because we just want to make sure that you're using the right Indians
Oh
for the right
God Almighty.
area. That I was like, oh fuck. So all these people who are like, you fucking globalists, I'm like, you don't understand the fucking like email headaches that I had to deal with, like these people. So he's there, he's talking to them, he's setting up sensors, and then this one guy shows up in this fucking crab thing, right? And he's like, hey, what's going on? Boop, boop, boop. There's supposed to be trees here. There's a fucking village. What the fuck? And then they start fighting, and they're calling each other like you neon cucumber and
Oh dear Lord.
hail. It's all like very Stanley.
The liberal kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, not even really liberal, but it's just like it's like Stanley like insults, so like rhyming insults. You know what I mean? Like, so you find out that like the crab guy was sent to that area by this other bad guy just to like test our hero. Does that make sense?
It's almost like The Incredibles in a way.
A little bit. But the guy who's testing our hero is actually the previous hero who was left for dead on 3 Mile Island. So he was like the previous like guardian of Earth in the 70s, but like got fucking crushed in like 3 Mile Island, and so he was like left for dead, and now he's just like, you know what the problem is? Humans. We got to get rid of the humans. So it's all fucking corny. But like, I was like, yo, we need to fucking make this guy crazy. And then I was like, we need to make that Earth spirit. We need to make it an alien. And really, like, the whole thing is this fucking alien invasion. It's not really environmental shit.
It's like, dude, what if we came from Mars? Like, we weren't really created on Earth, and like we just came from.
Dude, they were not ready for that shit at all. And I got the emails. They were just like, that's pretty interesting that she's not an Earth spirit. Okay, well, we'll tap on that. We'll get up. We'll circle back around to, you know what I mean, like corporate talk. Like, we'll circle back around.
You're giving us like grays, and we were thinking more Gaia from Captain Planet.
Dude, that's exactly what they were asked. They were like, so we want to do Gaia, and we want it to be a guy who's a football player, but now he has powers like Green Lantern. And I was just like, fucking hey, man. And I was like, you can't do that. I'm like, it's fucking, I'm like, you're already fucking around with the name. Like you can't make him like make shit out of green energy. I'm like, people are not gonna be interested in this fucking shit. So I like had him more of like an elemental. Like at one point he has to jump, so he like uses like rocks to like create a fucking boost. And another point he could like turn like rain into like ice. So he's kind of like elemental, like he's kind of like using like an airbender. You know what I mean? He's kind of like an avatar. Not that that's what I was pulling it from, but you understand what I'm saying? Like he's able to like bend earth, bend water, and like do all kinds of stuff.
Kind of tap into the elements and everything.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know. They should have just gone back to Captain Planet. You know, I mean, because
the funny thing is that's what like was some of the money that came from to like sponsor the book, because the guy, dude, you said it was gonna get spicy. So like the football guy that I was working with, he was getting his money from the grandson of Ted Turner.
Whoa.
Right. So like at one point I go to Atlanta to meet everybody. Right, I have like a portfolio of some sketches and stuff, some drawings and stuff, just to meet up, just to fucking say what's up. And we meet in like this fucking Ted Turner building in like a buffalo restaurant. It's like, yeah, Ted Turner flies in buffaloes that he slaughters on the weekends and brings them into this restaurant. And then it was on like Ted Turner Avenue. It was, and then I was like sitting there, kind of I wasn't getting fucked up, you know what I mean? But I was like on like my second beer. And I was with Ted Turner's grandson. It was so bizarre. I was like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah,
shit,
I mean,
man.
he has so much money. It's like almost borderline. It makes you uncomfortable because it's like the kind of power and like everything he created, the influence. I don't know how much influence is left these days, but
yeah. I mean, it was
during the
funny because
80s,
like
90s.
once we got into like that second beer,
You
and I
put a
was
little something in it.
well, I like that second beer, like the football player, like he's got fucking concussion problems, right? So
Oh
he's
God.
just like fucking like sitting there like smiling
Is he
and
giving you
like
like a weird eye? Like,
no, he was just smiling. He was like doing his job, just kind of like being the front guy. But like me and the grandson were kind of hitting it off because like I remember watching that stupid ass show. So
yeah,
by like the
the
second
propaganda.
beer and the buffalo, yeah, dude, so propaganda. And like the buffalo steak that I ordered rare, like I was like, oh, your
Shouldn't he
dad owns this
be like
place?
the fake meat? If he's gonna practice what he preaches, he should be eating bugs and fake
You
meat,
would
right?
think that. I don't know, but I didn't. That's not what I ordered. I didn't order any bugs. I ordered that buffalo steak.
That's
And
right.
then we were like singing the
Rare, right?
song and shit. Yeah, Captain Planet, he's our hero.
I had the
I mean,
toys with the rings. I'd wear those plastic rings on each one of my fingers. I was like,
yeah. All I could think, I like took the job. I was like, cool. I'll be able to like write the book and draw it. This will be a good experience. I'm like getting a nice check out of it. I had no idea. Like 5 years later, I'd be fucking, a globalist piece
oh
of
dear
shit
Lord.
for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
Digs
the fuck?
again,
I'm like,
right?
I paid for a roof. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I bought a new house and I was like, oh fuck, I need a roof. And somebody was like, hey, do you want to do a comic? I was like,
A man's got
yeah.
to have a roof over his
And
head,
then
right?
I went to court. So I went to court. So that cost money for my lawyer to deal with this guy. So now I like own the rights. So I think I'm going to like redo it, like get rid of the fucking name, get rid of like some of the stuff and like redo it as that like original, like, uh, you know, Captain Planet, but it's not really like an Earth spirit. It's really like a fucking alien. I don't know.
I'd
We'll
love
see.
to see I'd love to see your take on like that whole kind of Captain Planet thing, not with your vision, not
Yeah.
Ted Turner's vision, of course.
Oh
But
my God. Yeah.
I think
Sorry about
everyone
that.
used to sing that song. That song would just stick in your head. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
They paid a lot of money to have it stick in your head.
yeah, yeah. You remember that, like they do the PSA at the end, almost like they would do with GI Joe and everything. They'd come out and talk about, don't throw your old batteries away, otherwise we'll have acid rain in 2 years.
Yeah. The
All the
power is
all the
yours.
dolphins are gonna die. Don't use plastic.
Yeah, you're just imagining these poor dolphins swimming around with like D batteries shoved into their blowholes.
Plastic bags around their neck.
Yeah, sea turtles just all fucking suffocating.
Yeah. Oh dear Lord. Well, like kind of segueing from that, I'm curious about how you like. Did you approach your boy Zach, or did he approach you with
Yeah,
Rock and Roll Ninja? Because I mean, it's a pretty awesome, wild idea.
it's pretty wild, right? So like, I was like sitting in my office. I had a job as a art director at this screen printing shop, and I was not happy. I was just kind of fucking sitting there listening to your boy Zach videos,
Yeah.
and one of the ones that hit me was like, he was like, "Yeah, the Marvel that you remember is dead." That was one of the first lines. I was like, "Damn, man, this guy is
That's like
fucking onto something."
a sobering thing to hear,
Right, especially like as somebody who was like, maybe Marvel will notice me one day. Like if I work really hard, maybe they'll notice me. Like not really. Like they won't. Like I'm just not gonna fit that criteria that they're looking for. Like
Well,
I'm
if you
not.
wear a dress and put on a wig, I mean, that might
That's what I'm
change
saying.
things.
Like if I was like a half mixed racial bi
In a
former sex
wheelchair.
worker retard, yeah, I would like totally nail it. Hermaphroditic
Oh dear Lord.
identifying as an insect writer,
Yeah.
on the
Species
spectrum.
fluid, not just gender
Yeah,
fluid. You got
I'm
to be
species fluid on the spectrum. Which one? All of them. Light
everything.
spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum, all of them. I'm on all of them. No, so I was just sitting there and he said that and I was like, damn man, that's pretty fucking deep.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about it a little bit more. And then he had another stream where he was like, I'm looking for artists, but like they're gonna have to take some heat. And I was like, and I just kind of looked around. I was like, well, fuck. I was like, I could take some heat. Like this is kind of boring. So I was like, all right. So I emailed him. And like when I emailed him, I emailed him like a paragraph of like, who I was. I know it was going to be quick. I felt like there was going to be a fuck ton of people hitting him up. So I just gave him like a quick paragraph, sent him a link to my website, and then gave him like 3 different concepts that I wanted to do. One was like kind of a ninja concept. One was vampire, and then one was like a military one. I don't want to say too deeply because I still want to go back to those.
Yeah.
So like he was like, "Hey man," and he was like, "I like your stuff, and I really like the ninja thing. I have an idea. Let's burrito them together." So we started talking back and forth. So like I've never talked to him on the phone, but like it's like our emails are like text messages. So like that first like day, we probably had like 70 emails back and forth.
Good
You know what I
Lord.
mean? Just like going back and forth. Yeah, cool. Yeah, this. Oh, you like this? Okay, cool. And
I'm
then
gonna do a timeout real quick. This is gonna be spicy, so gird your loins. And then I want to get back to the back and forth with you and Zach, because
all right.
I do like to hear how the sausage is made and everything. All right, are your loins girded?
Yeah, let me put down my captain chair things.
Buckle up. All right, here we go.
$20, singing away.
Well, $20 from ASC Presents. This one is actually from Clippa. He says, "I am happy to hear Gritty Ron Green is only so bad because you allowed yourself to make soulless corpo art you didn't believe in for a small paycheck. But it is sad you weren't capable of elevating it."
Ouch. Actually,
that was a gauntlet right there.
Actually, I know. Okay, let's break it down. It's bad. I don't think it's bad. I think it's a pretty dope book. I think that Gridiron Green book that I made several years ago is better than most of the shit you see in CG. It's better than anything that fucking Frog Tony has made. It's pretty dope. It's online. Go check it out. It's actually pretty dope. Is it soulless? It's not. Because when I was making it, I fucking cared about it. And the dude who was mentoring me was Bernard Chang. And Bernard Chang does the covers for Batman Beyond. So like, as soon as I started the gig, like they hooked me up with Bernard. And like he was helping me out. So it wasn't at all like soulless. Like I was ready to fucking like take it all the way, especially because I like owned it. Like I owned a percentage of it because I was like, I want this much money. I'm going to do it in fucking visuals. I was like, I want this much money. And they were like, no. So I was like, all right, well, I want this much money plus a percentage. And they said no. And so I said, well, I want this much money plus a percentage. And they said, okay. And that percentage was high enough that like I had like some control in what was going on and I was cool with it. So afterwards, like I believed enough in it. It's not soulless if I believed enough in it and to pay fucking thousands of dollars in legal fees to like fight it in court. Like I had a fucking court date. I had to show up. I had to like show I had to show receipts to this fucking judge, and the NFL guy showed up and had like no receipts. He didn't have anything, so I won. So I mean, I don't think it's sad. I think it was pretty awesome. And I absolutely elevated it. Absolutely, because all the other books, like what's fucked up was they came to me like, yeah, we want a comic book. I was like, all right, comic book, 22 pages. Oops, I made 24 pages. Nobody cared. Then I looked at all the other books. They were like 16 pages, 8 pages, 10. They were like fucking Happy Meal books compared to the book that I put out. So I thought I elevated it within the space that I was given. I mean, Clippa, I don't know. He's just fucking trying to roast me. It's fine.
Well, I do appreciate you. I wanted to give you a chance to answer that before we go back. Yeah.
Congratulations on the $20.
Well, yeah, thank you. I got one here from Katie Did. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. She said, "For Abra, the greatest interview of all time." Wow. Well, I appreciate that. I am working on it, but I have a long way to go. I'd like to do.
Oh my God, coming at me hard.
Oh
and then
boy.
They'll EFAP this, right? So
Okay.
they'll EFAP this and create more content. So
all right. Well, I mean,
fuck it.
Thank you. I'm going to pull this up here in 1 second.
You know what's
Thank you,
dope is that
Matt.
Rock and Roll Ninja is probably the dopest book that's come out this
Well,
year.
we're going to talk about it because
Eventually,
it
but
really deserves, credit where credit's due. It's a great book. I really
thanks.
enjoyed it. And then I wanted to respond to Ray because he has to leave, and then I'll pull up this big fitty.
Ray today.
Okay, where was Ray here? He says he has to run, but he wanted to know where he could grab a copy of Rock and Roll Ninja. It is sold out. I think I saw on that Second Chance.
Yeah.
Any ideas if your boy is going to offer, when he does the sequel?
Yeah. Well, we'll have the sequel out. Definitely have it out before. It's going to be a little bit shorter. It won't be 100 years or 100 pages, and it won't take 3 years or 2 years or whatever it took. But the book is going to just get reprinted.
Yeah,
and then we're just going to reprint it. And so for every Splato campaign, like it'll be made available. Like it's not good. We're not looking at this to be like this limited edition item. Like, I want this comic to be like next to your fucking toilet in the bathroom.
It needs,
you know what I mean? Like I
needs
want it
to be in
like
print.
I want it to be like out there, like
all
as
right,
much as possible.
Let's take the poison here.
Ooh, that smell!
$50, a Pink Boy from ASC presents. Thank you, Clippa.
Does it suck? It's not Gigi sucking again is your fault. Like, how is it my fault? How does it really suck?
Oh, I love CG. I consider myself a part of CG. And don't worry about all the Marvel stuff, Matt. You wouldn't have made it as a diversity and inclusion hire either. Yikes.
I don't understand what that means. What does he mean by that? Is he
I'm
saying
not,
because
I think he's
I'm a
saying,
weirdo? Is he saying I'm a fucking kook?
I think he's saying if you did like the wheelchair thing and the pink hair dress, all that kind of stuff, they still wouldn't take you.
That's okay. I wouldn't want to work for them anymore anyways. Like at one point I probably would have been like, yeah, I'll go work for Spider-Man, but
I think they're a damaged brand at this point. I don't think you're doing your career any favors. Any artist is doing their career any favors.
Like you're not working with anybody there that's actually like fucking like created anything. You're not even working with anybody who knew those people. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be like, hey man, how's it going? Like, do you remember John Buscema? Or hey, what was fucking Jason Liebig at like as an editor? You know what I mean? You're just not. You're not going to have any of that fucking connections anymore. So it's like the worst of corporate art, honestly.
It's like Star Wars, right? Star Wars is dead. MCU.
Dude, I mean, I'm completely turned off on anything Star Wars and Marvel at this point. Like I want to draw.
Doctor Who. I'm like done.
Dude, once Tom Baker was done, I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
I had a crush on Peter Davison in the 80s, so yeah.
I mean, I'm like the desire to like draw a fucking swamp monster fucking thing. Like, do I want to draw that? Yeah. So there's like somebody who's an independent guy who has like Pariah, right? Pariah, which is like the chick who has like voodoo and she summons this like golem made of swamp stuff.
It's actually from Dark Gift and God Almighty, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the
Doc Blaylock.
That wrote it with him.
Right. So it's like I want to draw a Swamp Thing, but like fuck it. Like everybody who drew Swamp Thing originally or wrote him is like dead.
Yeah.
So like I'll work with somebody who's like alive and independent. Like it's okay.
Well, I think at this point it's probably, especially with crowdfunding and everything, it's probably better to just come up with your own IP as a creator anyway.
Yeah.
You own it. You can decide what direction you want to take it. The days of having to be with the big corporate, the big two, I think are over. But let's finish this out because I want to, keep hypocritically judging EVS for accepting money from Mint, you globalist.
Oh,
that was from Clippa.
What half of this was from Mint and the other half or this was all from
no
Clippa?
This was from Clippa. He was just talking about how, I guess, how you had that objection to, the objection to EVS accepting money from Mint, and you think that's well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you mentioned that it was morally.
He thinks I'm judging EVS. Yeah, that's his opinion that I'm judging EVS. I'm not.
But yeah,
That's so weird that he like puts it Clippa at the end. Like that's what what my grandpa did at the end of text messages. Like he'd like send a text message and be like, love Grandpa Bahr, and be like,
that's my grandma did that too.
I'd be like, I know it's your fucking text, bro.
It's
like,
well, no, it's because Mint will go on there too and use that account. So
Oh.
sometimes Mint will use it, and I think he's just trying to make sure that he's letting you know that it's coming from him.
Oh shit. Okay. Awesome.
He's laying
I don't think
down
we should
the
address
gauntlet.
anything. Yeah. We should lay down another with another $50. If he really wants to talk some shit, he should lay down 100. Stop being a bitch. Put down 100.
Here we go. Here
Super
we
chat
go.
100.
He said GG grid iron green. Okay, so that's what he was talking about.
Gridiron
before.
green.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying oh Lord.
Gaming geeks and gamers.
Oh God.
Which elementary? I'm fucking,
I don't know.
It's been a long day.
Well, I knew this would be a little bit spicy, but like I said, I love this book, and
Yeah.
I wanted you to give your piece. So we're gonna segue back a little bit to talking about how how you had the text back and forth with
So
your boy Zach.
we were emailing back and forth, and then Zach opened up a Google Doc, like a shared Google Doc.
Yeah.
And we just started typing stuff in there, and then just kind of adding stuff, going back and forth. What would be cool to draw? What's up, Odin? What would be cool to draw? And then a week after that, he was like, "Hey, I got Chuck Dixon to come on board. Is that cool?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fucking cool."
Yeah, I mean, that's like
kidding?
a huge name in comics. Like, come on now.
Dude, that was some of like the first comic books I was reading had Chuck's name. Like some of the first Savage sort of Conans that I was reading had Chuck's name. So
Yeah.
and it's weird, like the first sample script that I got at school was a Batman script by Chuck Dixon. So like in college, I was like doing Chuck Dixon pages, these like Batman pages for a class. So it's kind of wild to like be like, fuck yeah, let's do Chuck Dixon. So imagine like me and Richard are like talking about what would make a great like dinner, and we're talking about all these different ingredients, and we're like,
it's like
we should
stone
get some of
soup.
this.
You start with the stone, and then you keep like
We're
adding
just
a
like,
little.
man, we should totally get this. We should get this. Oh man, what if we got this? Oh, we need this. And then Chuck just kind of came in and was like, okay, and made like the course. You know what I mean? And like made it all. So
I'm curious about that too. Like how much of it was Richard, how much of it was Chuck Dixon? And I know you said you put in your input too. So like,
I would say it was equally me and Zach's. And then I mean, I gotta say it was like equally all of us. I mean, the only thing that like Chuck came in and like took all of our notes and like turned it into a script that felt familiar but also completely different than what I was expecting. Right? So like he took like stuff that we had talked about, like training and shit, and like turned them into montages. There's a couple of like montages.
Yeah.
They're training where there's not a lot of like dialogue. It's just them like doing shit.
Yeah, they were talking about, I know when they first were training the ninjas.
Right. So like that is also, that became like a montage of, he's like, okay, I want 6 panels, montaging. And you can almost hear like the rock and roll music if this was a movie, so like that was the stuff that Chuck brought, was like some of that more like he brought like structure to the shit that we wanted.
How about the dialogue? Because I really enjoyed that. Was one of the things that I really
that was them too. That was them too. Unless it came to like locations and shit, they were like, "Hey Matt, like where's the location would be good? Where's the New York spot that would be cool?"
Yeah,
used
that's
to
what I
live
was
there.
wondering too. Yeah, I was going to say, did you bring
Yeah.
your expertise when referring to some of the New York hangouts?
Yeah. Some of the places that I wanted them to fight, some of the places that they played, um, those are places that, I had like heard about and also had gone to see shows when I was younger.
Yeah.
And like my uncle lived in the city. And so like when I was 14, like I first went to New York City when I was 10. I was like, holy shit, I gotta get me some of this. So like I turned 14, like I started spending my summers there. And then when I turned 19, I moved, not 19, 18. I moved there to start going to school. So I really, really love the city. So
It's a tough place. It's like, I guess there's a reason they say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere kind of thing.
dude, the opportunities are there. Like honestly, like if you can't make it there, like there's something wrong with you. Like you got no hustle if you couldn't make it there. Like there's just like opportunities. If you just showed up and like put the initiative, like stuff would happen eventually,
The rock I would say it was mostly 70s like rock,
Yeah,
because
this is
it
late
takes
70s.
place
Yeah.
post Vietnam, like just post Vietnam.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's like
and
we're hitting like Mud Club, like CBGB's, early CBGB's, stuff like that. Like very like New York Dolls, the Stooges kind of stuff, like proto Ramones, you know. But that's, the sequel is going to move forward in time. So not only are we going to have like in forward time, but we're also going to do like music genre stuff. So there's
Mhm.
going to be some hair bands. There's going to be some rap mentions in it, because that becomes an influence in New York. But
Who thought of the name Uzi Does It? Because I thought that was pretty clever.
Chuck thought it up, and then I googled it and was like, oh, there's already a fucking Uzi Does It, like DOES,
Right.
you know what I mean? And so I was like, oh well, fuck, well let's just change it to DUZ. Does that make sense?
I think it works better with the Uzi. Like it just
Mhm.
kind of works
I like
better.
it too with the double U's. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's a kind of a visual thing with the double U's, the double Z's, the double I's. There's like kind of like a thing to it
And that's what I'd like to touch on too, before we, close up later on. I love how you design logos, and I think your logo design is some of the most awesome stuff I've seen. And I wanted to kind of touch on your process for that.
Thanks.
But yeah, it's mentioning how it looks visually, it's very important, and obviously. I'm sure that comes into play a lot when you're designing logos and everything. It's all about
Yeah.
just making it visually. You want to capture the attention of the the potential client or customer. So yeah,
Like a
that's
feeling, like that page. Like I designed the page, that front page to the New York Telegraph. Oh, you just passed it. The page
Oh,
that
I'm
you were
sorry.
on, where it's
Yeah.
like ninjas on my lawn.
Let me go back here. I'll see if I can find it.
So
Was
so
it
that
right
guy-
with the Uzi?
There it is.
Okay.
On your right.
There's a ninja on my line. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like designed that whole front page. So we're gonna take that whole design and like put it on a T-shirt.
Oh,
So it'll be like
nice.
a whole. But yeah,
The
so
whole of the New York Telegraph, where it
Yeah.
is it that and it says there's a ninja on my lawn.
Yeah, because I did like some stuff at the bottom. Like I sat there for the whole day and just kind of like filled out a whole yes, the wetlands are dope, dude. The wetlands are dope. I've been kicked out of the wetlands. Actually, I've been canceled
Uh-oh.
from the wetlands. No, I was going there a lot for like straight edge bands. Like I saw a Yuppie Side there. I saw Youth of Today. And then I started dating a chick who like drank, and we went and saw a fucking ska band. Fucking ska, man. So we went and saw a ska band because that's like, yo, if Camelot will dress like a fucking furry to get laid, like you can't blame me for like going to a ska band, a ska show to get laid. So I go to ska, and like she's drinking, and I don't have like, I have an X on my hand, and somebody like walked by and saw me like taking a sip from her beer.
Oh no. Were they trying to
And-
did they think you were straight edge or something? And
Well, yeah, because they were like, hey, do you have an ID? And I was like, nah, I'm not drinking. And they're like, okay. So they like drew the X on my hand, and somebody who was working there walked by when I was like taking a sip of her beer.
Narc.
and fucking was like, you got to get out. I was like, ah, fuck. But like, other than that, like I've been to the wetlands a bunch of times.
Awesome.
It's fun. It's a fun place.
So I wanted to give people kind of a rundown of what Rock and Roll Ninja is about real quick, and feel free to step in if I'm not really being concise or all that clear. But you have these 4 soldiers. They're in Vietnam. They're sitting in, I guess, they're having in one of the bases. They're having like a concert. I don't know, what did they call that when they would do tours?
Like a USO?
Yeah, like USO kind of thing. And one of the soldiers just wigs out. You think he's having PTSD, and it's like, no, like the band just sucks ass.
Yeah. Angel.
It's him saying that. And so they end up getting some fire from the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
And so the band just splits because they're civilians. They're not used to such crap. And so the soldiers are kind of inspired to go up, and they just start playing on the stage, and they just feel like it really clicks. Like they've kind of found their mojo kind of thing. Yeah, Charlie. And
because it's like the person, because they had just, like the page before, they had just killed the local mortar team.
Yeah.
So the people who were dropping mortar was like, they knew that was like a new mortar team. So they were like, oh, this fucking guy's not hitting anything. Let's just fucking go play. Like,
and the art is just like,
yeah,
really love all the detail.
Thanks.
Come on, there we go.
Yeah.
So anyway, they find that they're really digging the whole, being in a band type thing. And so when they eventually serve their tour of duty in Vietnam, they get back to the States. They kind of are not, they go off on their own, their own way, their own paths. Each one kind of settles in their own way. Even one of the guys they kind of show doesn't really deal with coming back to civilian life all that well. Which
Dennis?
I thought that was kind of cool because it just kind of, again, shows more of the realism of what these soldiers experienced. And so they end up having...
I just thought also that would be such a good, like a cool shot. I mean, just like visual, like not to be like, hey, we're going to sell this as a movie, but just in my head, just like this visual shot of like this dude sitting fucking buck naked on a hotel bed, watching Howard Cosell. You know what I mean? And there's like that, like Apocalypse Now, like punch in the glass where it's like bleeding. You know what I mean? Like,
was that the
kind of want that like weird juxtaposition of like, hey, some of them are just like they're kind of handling their shit. And
they're trying to cope the best they can, and some of them have to turn to different substances to do that. And I can't even blame them. I have never served, and I can only faintly imagine what they've had to see. I can't remember. I know your boy Zach served, but did you serve?
No, I did not.
I can't even imagine. And then the one guy kind of does the whole drag thing. So like,
it's even very 70s, it's like, maybe we never say he's gay. You know what I mean? Like, we never like, oh, look, we have a gay character. We never say Angel's gay.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's how they used to always approach, individuals that might possibly be light in the loafers back in the day. It's not a new phenomenon. We, society has kind of always accepted, homosexuality and transvestites and everything.
It's a very like Mad Magazine 70s take on trannies, where it's like, hello, and they'll have like, they'll draw like the beard on a chick.
5 o'clock shadow.
They'll do like a cleft chin on a so like I went with that. So like when you look at them, like it's super obvious that they're like hairy ass fucking guys dressed like women. Like it's not even like, look how sexy they could be. No, it's like camp. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like they're cosplaying and LARPing as women. Like they're definitely not like living their lives and trying to get society to tell them that they're fucking. You know what I mean? Like we are women. You need to see us as women. No, these guys are just fucking, just like,
they wanted to have fun.
Weird.
Maybe for a night they wanted to pretend like they were women and everything, but then the next day they went to their job and took care of business.
Right. Yeah. One guy works on Wall Street. The other guy, works on electricians on a building, and Angel is wearing fucking fruit on his head like a fucking like that one Banana Chica chick. You know the
Chiquita bananas.
Yeah, he's Chiquita bananaing out. Fuck it.
There was one thing I was a little bit
Oh, that shit
confused
was
about.
funny.
I don't know if it's like a typo or anything, but I was just wondering. I saw it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So they hadn't seen each other for years. They even say like we haven't seen each other for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it says 1973,
Uh-huh.
and they're having the reunion. But then when you go back a little bit, it said,
I've got my dry eraser board ready.
yeah, it's 1973. So if it was a couple years have passed, I think it would be 75.
You're right.
I mean, I am like kind of picking on like a very small
No.
detail,
Hold on.
But yeah, anyway, so that's what happens while you're getting your race board there. I will kind of continue with the plot summary a little bit. So they have a reunion, a Vietnam reunion, and this is the first time that the gang has seen each other in a couple years, and they start to talking, and then they have a band that's playing at the cheesy Holiday Inn, and that's kind of like very retro too. Like Holiday Inn used to be kind of like the dope place where you would meet up, and
that was the spot to have conventions, right?
Yeah, right. And then so I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, they end up picking up the guitars and everything, and it's like they just fell back into the groove of it. Almost like they were back at that at their base during that concert, and like, okay, this is great. Maybe we have a thing here. And then they end up getting into the gigs and all that. And,
we got a gig.
Let me grab this real quick here.
Oh my God.
$10.
Please keep sending them in, dude. Send them in all night long.
I appreciate it. I know it's spicy,
yeah, buddy.
But yeah, I appreciate you handling it with grace, Matt. I really
just
do.
want you to get paid. Let's just get Abra paid.
You talk a lot about trans stuff for someone who looks like Elliot Page, Matthew. Ouch.
I don't understand the connection between Elliot Page and trans. I'm not sure. I don't get that. Because she turns trans, and I'm somehow able to talk more about trans. I look like trans. I look like Elliot Page.
Well, thank you, Clippa, for the $10. I appreciate that.
We're all talking about it.
Aviator Surge has a theory about the 2 years kind of discrepancy there. Maybe they were abducted by aliens.
That's exactly what happened. That's actually going to be in a supplemental book.
Rock and roll UFO or something. So yeah, the guys are in the band for a bit, and they play all the kind of really crazy nightclubs and everything. Fights break out. I love how you have the guys here kind of like in the GIMP masks and everything.
How am I dumb, dude? ASA, like, how am I dumb? Like, holy shit, I'm a dumbass because I'm playing stupid to your stupid fucking question about Elliot Page. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Go rape Frog Tony. That's ridiculous.
Well, again, thank you, Clippa, for the super chats. I do appreciate it. And,
yeah, go piss on your girlfriend, dude.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Have a good stream.
Bow.
Oh, no, somebody's saying Riley's cheaping out. No, I mean, I'm quite pleased.
He is. Come on. I want another 50 from Riley. I want another 50 from Riley. If he really has something to say it with a 50.
Damn. Oh, well, I mean, in fairness, Katie, Matt is, I think he's being a little bit tame because when Matt unleashes, it's like releasing the Kraken. All right, so back to Rock and Roll Ninja. That's what we're all here for. Rock and Roll Ninja.
That's what we all are here for.
The book
of 2024.
Look at the artwork. I mean, that's really, and that's what I wanted to ask you about was the when you're sitting down and you're trying to do a page or even the panels, because it looks like you spent a lot of time on every little panel. It's like, how do you lay it out in your mind? Like, do you do some roughs first? Do you
Oh
have like,
yeah. So when I'm reading the script, I'm like doing like super small little thumbnails. Like I think in the back of the book, maybe there's some in the back of the book
let's
in
see
like
what we got here.
yeah, I do super rough thumbnails, like real tiny, like literally, you know what I mean? Like I'm drawing like basic shapes, like maybe circles, lines, you know what I mean? Just kind of figuring out how many panels, how many people are going to fit in that panel, stuff like that. So I'm definitely
Here's
starting
some
off
of
like
the,
really, yeah. So like that might be like that right there is like second round thumbnails. That one with the guy with the colonel, so that's like me. I've already done some roughs, and then I've like gone a little bit tighter, and then I send them to Zach. So like I'll do like 5-6 pages at a time and send them to Zach, and then he'll like look them over. Because sometimes you need to be looked at. I mean, not like me right now on a full screen, but like your stuff needs.
whoa.
Even like the best artists like will like accidentally use like the same layout twice. You know what I mean? Or will like the faces will all be kind of the same size on the whole page. So
Yeah.
Zach would go back and be like, hey man, on page 12 on panel 3, like you're kind of using the same layout, or it doesn't look as dynamic. So I'll like go back and change it. So like once I do that, like I'll do a couple more roughs, to be like, hey, are you cool with this? And he's like, yeah. And then that's when I just like start fucking noodling. Like once I like have the framework, I silenced.
I glitched out for a moment.
Oh.
So yeah.
So like, well, I mean, it's like comic book 101. So once I have like the framework of the page, then I could just start noodling out and like, oh, like his pouches, or like on that page with the dad and the girl. Like I thought about like, okay, this is where the little girl will be. The shotgun creates a diagonal line that like is dark, so it creates a line flow down from the left to the right. Then once I figured all that kind of like 101 shit, then I was like, oh, her bear would look cool, or yeah, like see his head, like
Yeah, even the violence was just really, I know
you
this
like that.
sounds kind of weird to say, but it's just like very visually interesting to look at, you know?
So like that page is like it's like establishing page. Then you have the shotgun that moves your head from left to right diagonally down. Then you have the shotgun blast that moves your eyes from diagonal right to left. Then down to the bottom page, which has talk, and then it moves over to the chick on the phone, which ends you wanting to turn the page. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like
Like the
that, like
dog.
how am I moving your fucking head around? Yeah, like, oh, which direction should I have that dog? It's like, well, I have the dog in the one position on that panel. So the next panel, I'll have the dog fucking full force halfway. That kind of stuff is like super early, and I'm showing Zach. But then like once I get into like noodling and shit, like get the fuck out of my way. Like don't talk to me about making changes. And he
Yeah.
knows that. Like Zach is like, he doesn't like, I'm completely open to like full page fucking revisions if I need to at thumbnail level and at like up to a certain point. But like once I'm like noodling and adding like sea oats, and I'm like drawing ninja stars shooting out
It's
light.
like it's locked in at that point.
Yeah, it's locked in. I'm like, dude, you need to fucking just like cope. Just go ahead and fucking deal with it. But
Like, look at this, the detail. Like I said, every page, every panel,
yeah,
there's just something
it's
very interesting to look at.
it's very kind of European. Like I'm a huge fan of heavy metal, so I love like Meta Barons, and I love some of that European flair where each panel like was like an illustration.
Mm-hmm.
American comics, like American like monthly comics, like they tend to have like one panel that's really done well, and then the rest are kind of like rushed because they're doing a page a day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like,
How
I
long
mean,
does
I
the
just,
average European comic take to come out?
I don't know. They're on a totally different scale. Like they come out with like hardback books, you know?
And this was it ended up being 100 pages, but
Yeah.
it didn't start out that way, right? Like I forget how many pages it initially was going to be, and then like
It
at what
started off,
point did your boy Zach go, I want to make it 100 pages?
it was always going to be like 100 pages. It was always going to be like 4 parts, but we were going to do like 2 floppies. Like, you know, part 1, part 2 is a floppy, and then we were going to break away and then do something else and then come back and then do the floppies.
Yeah.
So he put that out there, and like I guess the feedback wasn't good. Something wasn't, you know, it didn't resonate.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, "Hey man, let's just do it 100." But it was more like, "Hey, I just updated it to 100 pages. Is that okay?" And I was like,
Oh dear Lord.
I was like, all at once. I was like, all right, that's fine. Fuck it.
Aviator Search was asking how the comedy is. I mean, obviously that could be subjective, you know, it could be different from person to person. But personally, I found the banter back and forth between the guys, I found it to be very humorous when they would get themselves in kind of hairy situations and they would have their commentary, you know, as they're trying to avoid being hacked up by ninjas or whatever. I thought it was very humorous. So I think you'll like it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And you know, for 100 pages, you know, this was a thick book. It went by quickly. In no way did it feel like it was short. It's a very easy read. It's a entertaining read.
Thank you.
I love this one. When I was done, I want issue 2, you know, like right
Yeah.
away. I'm like,
Yeah.
where's issue 2?
We had another book. We had like another book that we were like working on, and it was like, all right, we need to put that one on the side. We need to
Yeah.
put that one to the side because it was another like one shot maybe. You know what I mean? It was Hellraiser meets Blood Sports, kind of a thing, and we were working on that, and yeah, we just put that to the side to start really polishing the Rock and Roll Ninja script.
Yeah. And one thing I had to comment on too was I don't know whose decision it was to go with this paper, but the feel of it and the smell. I know that sounds weird, but when you get this in your hands, people, I mean, if you're of a certain age, it kind of brings you back a little bit. You'll start having flashbacks. It has this very retro classic smell.
I think they got it was like, hey man, we really like Mad Magazine paper. And the guy was like, hold on. And like went out to an old warehouse, you know, and like brought out like some paper. He was like, I got this roll of paper from 1979.
Some
Will this work? And it was just like, whoa.
I mean, I don't know if your boy Zach did it as like, you know, for cost reasons, but
no,
I mean,
it was
for
all
whatever the
part.
reason.
It was this whole book, all of it was a whole like package. It was all like an experience for you to have in your hand.
No,
that's what we wanted.
Like
there was no like the feel of it, you know, the handling of it, everything. Like it was all like factored in for sure. Like, should we do this? Like, nah, let's fucking do it.
It worked.
As retro as fuck. Like you picked it up off the sidewalk in St. Mark's. You know, you're just like, what the fuck is this?
I wanted to kind of answer this. Maybe you could help me a little bit too, Matt. I don't know if you got any extra copies that, you know, you might put up on eBay or whatever, but I know that he had a second chance campaign and it just sold out. Like that. It was like 200 copies too.
Yeah. So we had our initial run, our initial campaign. Everybody started getting their books, and we're like, okay, well, we have like these extra books. Like, do you want to divvy them up, or do you just want to do another campaign online with them? And it was like, fucking just do a second campaign. And we sold out in 3 days.
Yeah, that was
like 200. That was dope.
Unbelievable. Because I did my review and then I had people commenting like, oh, I want to get a copy of the book. I missed the campaign. And I'm like, oh yeah, there'll be a second chance or something. And well, there was, and there it went.
That's dope. Organic It was dope. It
Yeah.
was really fantastic.
Was Zach kind of taken aback by the popularity of the book? Do you know? Have you spoken to him about it?
Yeah. Yeah. And like he was like, I got one word for you guys, franchise.
Yeah.
And it was like he was like dope. He was like, yeah, the reviews, all the sales and everything are just he's really happy with how it's coming out. People are like really excited and letting him know.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's really excited about it, so that's good. That's
Yeah,
always fun.
I know he's like a huge fan of GI Joe and everything, and uh, I guess maybe Jawbreakers is supposed to be like his tentpole thing, but I think he really has something special with this, and if he
Yeah.
could focus his energy behind Rock and Roll Ninja, I think that would be a good way to go.
Yeah, I think he is. I think that's how we're going with it. And I'm pleased as punch. I was just like look, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do maximum effort, and I'll have it out there, I hope, you know what I mean? You're like, hopefully people love it. And,
Yeah.
and they do.
Well, I
So
mean,
I'm
even
excited.
before it was released, I know you kept saying, "Wait till Rock and Roll Ninja hits. Wait till it hits." And I think you had, you believed in the project, and you were touting it even before it was out there. So,
I was fucking walking like fucking Conor McGregor.
yeah, the cock of the walk kind of
I'm
thing.
telling you when it comes out. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's
Mm.
pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm excited. I'm
So,
excited that like my shit talking was kind of like backed up a little bit. I was like, oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
right. I wonder if Muhammad Ali ever did that. He's talking smack, and then when he was able to beat his opponent, I wonder if he was ever like, "Whew,
Yeah,
I did it."
yeah, I gotta go take a cold shower. This fucking
Yeah.
hurts. Too late.
Hey, Jimmy Reyes. Nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Um, so how far are you, and you might not be allowed to say, but I'm going to ask and you can tell me if you're allowed to comment or not. How far along is the sequel?
The sequel, the guys have been like illustrated. One of the bad guy groups have been illustrated. There's a new bad guy that's being designed. The script is still getting worked on.
Mhm.
There's because this isn't like smack talking anybody, but it's like let's say each page is a minute in a movie. So you
Yeah.
have like a 90-minute movie, and it's called Ninjas. Like if you wait until like the half an hour mark before you see like a ninja costume, you're gonna be like, where the fuck
Yeah,
is the
where's the
ninja?
ninjas?
Where's the ninjas, right? So I'm like reading the script or the rough, and I'm like, all right, okay, this is a bunch of just talking. Okay, page 14, there's some fighting. Okay, talking. Okay, 18, there's talking. Okay, page 25, there's a ninja. I was like,
Are you giving your feedback?
I was like, hey, oh, Zach, hey, man, this is, can we please have like a flashback to a mission or something? Like, can we fucking, get something in there? And I gave him the analogy of like, dude, if this was a 90-minute movie, like, would you wait a half an hour to see a ninja? Like, I want to see fucking people getting their shit chopped in half like within
Yeah.
10 minutes.
I didn't mind the banter, but I would say like one of the big draws to this book is just the really kick-ass action.
Yeah, I want them to either be playing on stage,
Yeah.
that kind of action, or chop suey, or like chopping up some shit.
Is it going to be flashbacks, or is it going to kind of pick up?
No, we've moved forward
Okay.
into the early 80s. So of course, Zach, like if you've read Jawbreakers, Zach is just like, hey man, let's just kill them all off. And I'm just like,
no, Jesus, no.
I'm like, fuck no, dude. I'm like, you haven't fucking drawn these fucking dudes for fucking hours on end. Like, no, these guys are going to fucking end in like a fucking jump freeze frame. Like that's how like they're gonna win.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're absolutely right. Like, so like these guys are gonna get a record deal, they're gonna be like stars. but their celebrity is gonna like bring on like other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
they're
More money, more problems kind of
more
thing.
money, more problems, more visibility.
Yeah.
You know, there might be people out there who hate ninjas. There might
Mhm.
be a shinobi killer
Oh
out there
my.
who like
I
he
don't even
doesn't
know
care.
that ninja.
He doesn't care if you're a good ninja or a bad. Like he's just like ninja shinobi destroyed XYZ in my life. So my whole life is clearing the world of shinobi, and now there's 4 shinobi in New York City.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to kill
And
him.
that can't stand.
That can't stand because you might have several pages of them fighting, being like, we're fucking good guys. We're not fucking, you know, we didn't have anything to do with XYZ.
Right.
And this guy is like, I don't give a fuck. You're ninjas. You gotta die. And this guy is, you know, a shinobi killer. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's what's happening. We don't know.
Fill in the blanks, you know.
Fill in the blanks. There could be a hairband. We don't know yet.
Or like a Johnny Rotten kind of guy or something.
Yeah. I mean,
give
you
me
know,
one sec. I got to let my
Yeah.
dog out of the
Sure.
room real quick. She's whimpering at me. So please stand by.
So, like, you know, you got the ninjas. So, a ninja killer might be Shaolin-esque, Kung Fu-esque. I don't know. What's up, chat? What do we got going on? Jim O'Reilly, what's going on, dude? Having met and trained with ninjas, there are no ninja killers. I mean, it's a comic book, so we're just making up shit. So, my idea was like, what does a ninja look behind his back to check for? He's checking for this guy. He's like the Baba Yaga of ninjas.
Maybe Jim O'Reilly is, maybe he's in the book. Who knows?
Yes, he will be referenced in the second book for sure. I would love to go to Japan. I mean, I'm not like a huge manga fan, anime watching person, but I would love to go to Japan just to like see some shit.
The culture is just very fascinating. I had a layover. I was going to Vietnam several years ago for a friend's wedding, and had a layover in Japan overnight. And yeah, it was pretty fun. And so I made the most of it. Went to a temple and everything, and got to hear monks chanting. And it was it was very. Kami Mark's like, hail Vietnam.
Hail Vietnam.
Yeah, people.
What's up, Kami? Did you drink sake?
Oh yeah, and had some of those sushi. One thing I can't really handle, I do like sushi, but I can't have the really, really strong fish flavored variety. And so
I like when sushi is just like these like cool textures.
Right. I can handle tuna, like the yellowfin and all that, and have some salmon. That's fine. But once we start getting into some of like the stronger eel and stuff, I'm just like
sea urchin.
Yeah, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
I will every once in a while. I'll be like, "Can I get a piece of octopus?" And it's just like it's like chewing on tire.
Yeah, isn't it? The texture is very weird.
Yeah.
Let me bring up here I pinned the link in the chat. Do that. I wanted to bring up some of your artwork because I really, like I said, earlier in this stream, I love your designs. I think you definitely have a real talent when it comes to logo design. And so I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit.
Thanks.
Credit there. Let me share my screen. Curses. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I've cleaned out my website a little bit, but I used to have like some beer labels on there that I did. I kind of cultivated my website to stuff I want to do rather than like hire me. I'll do anything you fucking want. Now I'm kind of like, this is the shit I like to do. Please hire me.
Yeah, it's very clean looking, and I am a huge fan of just kind of simple, no nonsense, clean looking websites. You go to some of these, especially like the the pop culture websites that, in order to stay afloat, they have to pretty much sell their soul. Every inch of their site is an ad, and it's just ridiculous. But this is simple, clean, to the point.
Thanks.
So
I'm gonna have some like secret links on it too. I know that sounds weird, but like I like right now I have like sequential and spot illustrations and stuff like that, but like there's no spot that has sketches.
Yeah.
So like there's like a hidden button on my website. So I know it's silly, but I have like hidden stuff on my website. So
I don't know.
you,
I think that's
if
kind of cool.
if
You
you
know, like
click it,
Easter egg or something.
yeah, I got little Easter eggs on my website. So if you click in the right spot, you'll see like sketches of something. You'll see, you know, some just like random doodles, because a lot of the stuff that I have is like fairly polished. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of like,
Right.
here's some silly.
I noticed
goofy
you
stuff I'm
had
done.
what's his
Last of the
PTPs
Seekers.
Last of the
It was
Seekers.
good. I mean, suck a fuck the project, but it was good. I was doing
Yeah.
good pencils for it. You can't deny I was doing good sequentials for that page for that comic, right?
That whole situation just got really weird. Post Tampa and everything. I'm just like, what is going on? Everything's just going
Bro.
nuts.
He
Um,
went overboard. I'm talking overboard. As soon as I
jumped
was
the
like
shark, rode the shark, made
goal,
love to the shark.
I'm talking Goldie Hawn mini golf jumped the shark overboard.
Hey, Fanta.
He is some Goldie Hawn shit. Cause as soon as I was like, yeah, man, I don't want to work anymore after Last of the Seekers. I was like, as soon as I'm done with Last of the Seekers, I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about doing a ripoff of Silverhawks.
I do remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
It was like Titanium Titans or some shit like that. So it's like he's working with the Chinese company because they have these molds. So he's like retrofitting comic books to fit these molds that these guys had. And
Right.
so I was like, I don't want to fucking be a part of that, really, bro. So once I do the Last of the Secret pages, I'm done. And he was like, okay, which he then like told Shane and Kelsey Shannon, a couple people, that I fucking quit the Titanium Titans job mid-job. Like I walked off on a book and stuff. And it was just like, what the fuck, man?
I would be
It was
curious.
just
I realize that it's hard for our country to go after the companies in China, that are ripping off the trademarks and copyrights and all that. But could they possibly go after Patrick? Like I was wondering, like
could they go
surely,
after him because he's like shipping the stuff?
yeah, like he is
I don't
kind of
know.
like seeing. I mean, I'm no lawyer.
Maybe, I mean, maybe if like Super 8 or whoever is putting out the Silverhawks, if they were like, hey, Riot Press is putting out toys that are using the same models, same molds. I mean, I guess they could,
Mhm.
but like Patrick is running like super low runs.
I
So I
gotcha.
wonder if like he's, I'm not
I don't know.
sure.
I wish everyone the best. I know it didn't work out with Comicsgate
do
and
too.
Patrick, but I just, I don't want him to go into
Dude,
the
it
poorhouse.
just like escalated from like the little thing of him telling people to like EVS sending me text messages that Patrick was sending him, blaming me for the Dale fuck up, saying that I was the one that for fucking up Dale's deal with him. And it was like, what the fuck? And then then there's another thing of like, hey man, Patrick is telling everybody that you got into a car accident and have a head wound. And it was like, what?
The hell?
That's what I'm saying. I was just like, this shit is just like escalating.
It's
And
weird.
I was like, man, I can't even keep up. So
Yeah, it's nutty. But to go from like the pencils here for Last of the Seekers and then just seeing the sequentials for Rock and Roll Ninja.
I needed
Dude,
somebody to see my pencils for Last of the Seekers because that motherfucker printed out my pencils and then inked them with a Sharpie.
Jesus.
I mean, he fucked my fucking pencils up.
Oh.
Just raw dogged them. And I just need people to see like, no, I drew that robot pretty cool.
It's like he just took the Sharpie and stabbed you in the heart with it.
Dude, he was inking those pages out of hate. At that, he was like, fuck
You
that
goddamn
what? I don't need a ruler. Let me just draw this line here while I fucking stutter out. Oh well. Yeah.
And I love the pieces that you've done for Comicsgate and everything, like your
There's a lot of them in here.
Cyberfrog, and yeah, there's just really good
The
stuff.
Uni one at the top, the Cyber Frog,
Yeah.
the Absolute one for Unhinged for Jason Bascom, the Luke Stone and Piper Riff Riders, the Mike Barron Private American. There's another
Yeah.
PTP. Then there's some
Oh, this was
Commie Marks.
yeah, Commie Marks.
Yeah, you can click on it and it gets bigger.
Yeah, let's give
That's
Commie
not.
Mark.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess it doesn't get. It's more of a show me than a grow me. Yeah, it doesn't really get. But I that was a pretty dope when that came out. All of those wraparounds came out pretty dope. Then some Starlight Cats.
Yeah.
More.
Now this here with My Girthy Stallion.
Yeah.
I mean, I know things have been kind of back and forth, like rocky a little bit with you and EVS. Do you think there might still be a chance of My Girthy Stallion?
If a script ever gets made, like a year and a half ago, he was like, "Hey, do you want to do it?" And there wasn't a script. And now he wants asking me now, and there's still no script. I mean, if there's a script, I might be down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Nobody
I
can
love
draw
what
horses
you've done.
like me.
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
I'm
dude
the
that looks
fucking
like
horse
Chainsaw
master.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can get somebody else to draw the book for you, but it's gonna look like shit. And Ethan knows that. So
I won't zoom in.
I don't ever say anything that Ethan can't say back to me. You know, he says some raw dog shit to me sometimes. So fuck it.
Yeah, you guys have that kind of that Yankee kind of toughness about you.
Yeah.
So
fuck you. See you tomorrow. Okay.
yeah, let's go have a beer kind of thing.
I love that. That's like I don't think people realize that that's the shit I love.
What was this from?
This is just a little clip from a skateboard design that I did. So there's this like zombie baboon monkey, and he's eating a tiger, and it was for a skateboard company called Instant Winner.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Part of Shane's stuff.
Shane, yeah, that's Shane's trading card. His sumo Shane that I did for him.
Yeah, and the Frog G stuff too. I like that.
I like the Frog G stuff. That was really fun. They let me do whatever I wanted.
Let's see.
That's wide. That was for Widespread Panic poster.
That's cool looking. I love how you did the blades for the helicopter too, to like show them in motion. Yeah. I could seriously almost hear it in my head. It's crazy, and the detail on the building.
Yeah, that took a second.
That's awesome.
But notice how it's like a real simple perspective. It's just like off to the side. You know, I was like, oh my god. So I made it real simple. But yeah, they have a song called "Comrade the Caterpillar," and so I was like, oh, I'll draw a caterpillar, and they're playing at the Chicago Theater for several nights. So I was like, well, I'll draw the caterpillar eating the Chicago Theater, and they're like, perfect.
That works.
That works. That'll work.
Oh, for no cover.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's yoked mailing.
Ooh, look at this dude. What was this from?
That's a little close up. So you see at the top, that was a vinyl wrap for the side of a boat.
Mm-hmm.
So like this guy was like, hey man, I got this cool fishing boat. Like, can you make me this vinyl wrap that makes it look like my boat's being ripped off and there's a pirate on the inside? So I was like, yeah, booty. Sure. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, he's got his chest and he got his Carolina flag. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem.
So can anybody, like, if you just said you did the wrap for this guy, could anybody hit you up if they want to commission you to, for a project?
Yeah, like you. Yeah, like I'm still doing yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting it's getting a little tight on the schedule, but you can, especially, I mean, right now it's a good chance that I'm down for something, but once I start rock and roll interiors, like I'm not gonna do any. I had somebody color that for me. This guy named Chuck from the Philippines.
I like how the sword and everything is just kind of like disintegrating off of him.
That's cool. I like that kind of exploding view of stuff.
Mhm.
You know, where they ever show like an engine and it's got all of its parts exploded out,
Yeah, yeah, like the design aspect of it, so you can see like all the different
all the little
components.
pieces.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I wanted to do with this guy, was just like look at all the little like intricate parts to this character's costume. And that's kind of what I ended up doing with Yellow Flash's cover that I did.
Mhm.
So I did a cover for Yellow Flash for his book, and I just did like the guy getting like formed.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was pretty slick looking. I like that
Thanks.
one. And this is what I like too. What I was talking about earlier, the logos that you've done and designed, just really top notch.
Thanks.
I really like them. So, what is your process when you're, you sit down, somebody's approached you, Matt, I run this lemonade stand. I need you to design a logo for me. Like, what's your process? How do you kind of narrow in on something, a design?
I'll take a page and just like fill it with sketches, like just little doodles of different ideas.
Hmm.
You know, well, I mean, I kind of get an idea of like what the person was doing. Like, hey man, what are you thinking? What are you, kind of a retro, modern, or do you have an idea? You don't? Okay. And so I will just kind of fill up a page with as many different variations on the idea as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like I might get up to like, it won't even be just like A, B, C, or E. It'll end up being like A to like, you know, E or like Z sometimes. You know what I mean? I'll just like fill up the page with as many different like ideas of like where could this logo go, and I'll send that to the person and they'll like say, oh, I like A and I like D, let's maybe work on that, combine A and D, or I like F. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
I'll like take those two and kind of combine
That's awesome.
those and then work out another idea,
Yeah.
and then combine that and then show them, and once they're cool with that, then I'll like build the vector logo.
Yeah, it's just really cool. And I kind of like how your style seems to be. I mean, you can do like really modern looking stuff, but it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you kind of lean more towards like a 90s kind of look a little bit with your stuff.
I guess so. That sucks.
Uh,
I'm a product of the 90s.
well, I mean, nothing wrong with the 90s.
I try
I
to
like
go a
the
little
80s
retro with
too.
this, I try to go a little retro with that. That's some stuff I do, like collegiate designs
Hmm.
and stuff.
Yeah, I was going through. I thought this one came out for the book Rock and Roll Ninja. I thought that came out really well.
Is that
Uh,
from the 90s or
no, I would say this is more from, it almost feels more like 80s rock or something, a little bit.
word?
But yeah, I love how it has, it almost looks like the fake Zipatone. You got a fingerprint there on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you seem very detail oriented. I appreciate that.
That's all vector. That was all in Illustrator. Even that thumbprint is a
Hmm.
little vector element. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
because
work
it
in.
looks like, like the poster, like they were just putting it up there and the ink was
Yeah.
maybe still a little wet and they just threw it up there and, it smudged a little bit and got their fingerprint on there.
Because I really like, I mean, Rock and Roll Ninja was like my first major fucking story, my first major book. And like, even though like Zach is publishing it, and even though Chuck wrote it, like I really wanted to like put as much as of myself into the book as I can. That's why I like did the logo and the wraparound design of the cover, and just as much as I could, I did for the book. The patch, I designed the patch, stuff like that.
Aviator was talking about a Fortnite skin.
So I work for Epic Games,
Oh
who
wow.
owns Fortnite, and I worked for them a couple of times doing storyboards for an ad that they did, because they started getting like celebrity streamers. They started like creating skins for some of the people who were streaming for them,
Oh wow.
and so they were doing like some ads for those people, and so I got to do the ads. And like one of the ads was for Piccadilly Square in London. Like they
Oh
have
wow.
this cool corner advertising in Piccadilly where if you stand at a right spot, it looks 3D. So I worked for Epic Games on like designing that, you know, which is how I got into like Fortnite. Like I wasn't playing Fortnite before then,
Did they
right?
give you a code where you could pay, kind of play for free for a little bit?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Well, I mean, it's a free, isn't it free to play? But you
I
can
think
buy
yeah, yeah.
like
The
equipment
cha-ching
and
comes
stuff like that, skins.
in the skins. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the first meeting, I'm in a Zoom meeting and they're like talking about launch pads and fucking Rift diamonds and like Rift crystals and shit.
And you're like, what?
And I'm just like, uh-huh. Yeah. Totally. Absolutely. That sounds so dope. I'm totally down to work on that. And I'm just like taking notes, just like what the fuck is a
Yeah, so
launch
you can look
pad?
it up
What the
later.
fuck is a Rift? Yeah, like my notes were just like, what the fuck are this shit? Like, what is all this shit? Because I just assumed it was like goofy kid stuff.
Right.
You know, it was like it looks kiddie. And so I was like, all right, well, let me go ahead and download and play. Let me go
Yeah,
ahead and
that
just
crap
freaking
moves way too fast for me. That's one where they like build the fort and everything in like 2 seconds, right? They just
yeah, you got like different modes, right?
Mhm.
There's one mode where you're building shit where like you're just building stuff as you're fighting, and like
That's just
I
nuts.
don't have the brain power for that.
Me, I
I
can't
work
compute.
I could play like zero build where like it's basically just battle royal. You're just like running
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
shooting each other. And so I like played that for a little while. I was like, oh, this is fucking dope. So then I was like, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. And I could like really draw the crystals and stuff. But,
Hold on, I forgot to put the crystal in.
yeah, well, I mean, those are the things that matter, you know. They care, you know.
The devil's in the details, they
That's
say.
right. Absolutely. Look at that shit. Jesus Christ.
I had a this
Pays
is
the
way
bills.
off tangent, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I had a colleague that I used to work with years ago, and she was from Ethiopia, and she had a little bit of an accent, and she had some issue pronouncing certain things, and one of them was beach. And so instead of saying, Myrtle Beach, she would say, "Oh, Myrtle Bitch," and I was like, "Whoa, like hold on, let me." It's like
It's a
B,
bitch.
like a bee. Think of like a bzz, bee. And so we're sitting here sounding it out because I was like, oh my God, I don't want her to say that in the wrong spot. And people are like, excuse me?
Hold on one second. My little dog is now scratching on my door. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, they do that, don't they? We'll look through some of these designs. They're really good. Here's kind of an example of what Matt was saying, where he has several different iterations of the design, different colors. Of course, the cover there. Yeah, I really do hope that some additional copies, like a second printing, is made available for Rock and Roll Ninja, because this really was an enjoyable book. Definitely a lot of fun. Well, this looks badass. What is this? Wolfen. There is no defense.
You ever seen the movie Wolfen?
I have not. I have a bunch of like older movies that are on my list, my to-do list, so to speak.
You should. It's good. It's good.
That looks badass.
I tried to make like the broken windows of the city.
Yeah.
Spell out Wolfen. I don't know how well I did it, but
I like it because I can kind of see the different like the shape of the panels and everything, the window like panes.
I'll delete it.
It's creative. I like it. Dang nabbit. Oh, this is a little choke. Instead of doing like CPR, it's showing you how to like choke.
Well, there was like this, the deadliest man of the world ad that they used to have in comic books, and so I was working on this pizza documentary, and I was working on this pizza documentary. This guy who makes pizza in New York, and he does it really well. And at one night, he gets into a fist fight with one of his customers, and
Wow.
right, so because like the guy makes pizzas in a certain way, like people wait in line for this dude's pizzas. Somebody comes in, sits down, and is like, "Yeah, this pizza is not done." Like
I think of like the soup Nazi, but it's like the pizza Nazi.
Kinda, right?
Yeah, no slice for you. 1 year.
So the guy is like, "Yeah, this pizza's undercooked," right? And so this guy right here, the fighting guy is like, he's like the waiter, right? And he's telling the story. So he's like, so I take the pizza back to the chef, and so he's like, what? He wants it, it's undercooked. Fuck this guy. And so he like just puts it into the oven and just puts it into the oven and just burns it to a black crisp, and then takes it back out to the table and is like, here's your fucking pizza, right? Which, so like they start getting into a fight. And then they start getting into a fight, and the customer's wife jumps up and then jumps on the back of the chef,
like
and
a monkey on the back.
yeah, right. And so that's when the waiter, this guy, starts talking about how he fucking went and just like gave the wife a little choke.
Just a little bit.
I gave a little choke.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, you know, the forbidden secrets of the supreme master. Because this guy was like, yeah, you know, he was like, I know some stuff. I know some martial arts. So, you know, I just I went up to her and I gave her a little choke. And like, I just thought that was like the most funniest fucking thing. So like, I was like, dude, what would be funny is like if we made like this ad for this. So like when he says, I gave her a little choke, just fucking pan across his ad. And he was like, dude, that's fucking brilliant.
It's hilarious because look, it's like it even has, you know, like the different like instructions, you know, from A, you do this movement, B.
Yeah, but it's completely bullshit because it's like step one. There's like fucking 5 moves in step one. Like,
did like a little
this,
you know, circle here.
Step 2, do this.
The like, skull, like, yeah, right here in the neck.
Chopper. Yeah, so that's kind of fun, you know, kind of really getting into it, you know. And like one of the things he was like, yeah, I don't go 50, I go 150. That was one of the quotes. So I put that at the bottom.
Yeah,
you know?
Don't go 50, take it to 150.
It was just like this guy was so ridiculous about the way he was talking about choking this woman. I was like, dude, we got to fucking the chicken choke. And that's what it is, the little choke. So I went and looked up to, and it was like chicken neck choke, or it's like chicken woman choke or something like that. That's what those Chinese symbols mean.
Forbidden secrets. It's hilarious.
Forbidden secrets of the white chicken woman choke.
I feel like I shouldn't even be looking at it right now. Like, let's see what else. And you kind of go through some of this stuff here. Anything that like you're just really like proud of, you just kind of want to puff up your chest about?
I don't know, all of it. I think all of it's like pretty funny, you know. I think it's all like little facets of like what I want to do and what I like to do.
Pew pew pew.
Yeah, I love pew pew pew. What's funny is like, so this like black and white with some green is something that we're gonna do again, but I'm gonna do with Mike Barron.
Oh, nice.
So me and Mike have this me and Mike have a script, and it's a noir script, and it starts in LA and it ends up in like Tahiti. So it's like I want to do like just black and white and like money colored green.
I like
so, like,
that.
You'll see it like hints of it in LA, and then when they go to Tahiti, you'll see it like in the bushes, and you'll see it like hints of it on her dress. So it's just like, yeah, I really like that. Like, I don't know,
just to kind of complement it a little bit, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it's called, but like, yeah, more than just like black and white and zip, but like black and white and one special color.
You got some great stuff here. Like I said, I just wanted to take a moment and highlight it. I did link your site in the chat, so if anybody wants to check it out,
yeah,
and you know, maybe they'll hit you up too.
Maybe.
I've seen some of your painting.
Yeah, I like painting.
Yeah, I've seen some of the streams where you have the huge like
on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor. And yeah, oh my god, you're like covered in paint and everything.
Yeah, luckily, yeah, those were all like geometric stuff. I wasn't like really focusing on people, but I love
like this one here, the Hawaiian Punch guy.
Yeah, everybody has seen. I've moved it since I've like put it somewhere else, but yeah, I like doing portraits of people. Like I did that Georgia coach. Kind of weird, but I like doing it. I like doing the girl meeting the skull above him.
Yeah.
I like, it's different than my design art and some of my comic book art. Like I like to do this kind of layering of images, this kind of juxtaposition of different kind of images that,
Right, kind of like with it, like this here, or the Mickey Mouse kind of thing,
yeah,
or
the
the Icky
Icky
Muse
Muse
Club.
Club. Yeah, and like above that, I didn't show all of it, but above it is like those are the Beagle Brothers.
This one here.
And yeah. And to the side actually had Goofy dressed up like the Punisher. But I just wanted to do this. But I really like, textures on textures, stenciling, real painting on top of that. Like I like, even though I'm using like one medium, I'm using acrylics and house paints. Like I
Yeah,
like that kind of like mixed media kind of stuff. And
I like how
they
you're
like it. The
into
NFL likes it.
different different formats and everything. You're kind of like an artist. It
Yeah,
seems
whatever
like you
pays the
have
bill.
that creative eye. You're just always trying to look at things differently, and
Yeah,
I do
thanks.
really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's that Gronk painting right there. That
mhm.
that little bucket. That's a gallon paint, right? That's a gallon paint bucket right there.
Oh yeah, good lord, to get a perspective on that.
Yeah, I
Is
just
it
need to like be
hard?
like, yo, this was a big ass painting.
Is it hard to kind of keep everything, proportionally accurate when you're painting something this size?
Like I think you've seen some of the other paintings I do on the ground. Like I just do a grid.
Hmm.
Like I go old school conversion. I just like draw a grid, and then I have like a Photoshop image that I've like composed or composited, and then I'll draw a grid on that, and then
Oh,
print that
cool.
out, and then I'll just start working the grid. Does that make sense?
Work the grid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of it is just like, okay, like just blue texture here, red texture here. Okay, I need to really focus on the face, and then I'll start looking at my grid to like make sure that I'm like hitting it correctly, and it takes a second. I mean, yeah, I it's hard work, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like that. It would really suck if you kind of made a mistake and you're just like, well, like I just got to work with it.
Oh,
What
yeah,
am I gonna do
yeah,
now?
dude. You were just chopping away. You're like, oh, I fucked up, but you're going so fast and they're so big that like, oh, I just fucked up over here. All right, well, fuck it. I can come over here and start
Lean
painting.
into it. Yeah, I meant that splotch to be there, or
Yeah, or you could just you could just walk 5 feet down the painting and start painting, and then
yeah.
within an hour, just go back over and repaint that spot and just paint over it, and nobody will know. Like one of those like Destiny paintings that I did, like one of the things wasn't supposed to be there, or maybe I put something wrong, and they were like, yeah, like that one in the middle there, like over to the side, it was supposed to be something else, and they're like, no, not that. So I had to like sit there and like let it dry and then repaint it. But
Yeah, it's like Bob Ross, right? It's like, oh, just a happy accident, There's no mistakes here.
there's no mistakes.
Give the tree a little friend. It'll
Yeah, yeah.
it'll work
That was
out.
the job. I like threw a fucking paintbrush at somebody.
Let me
This mo-
see. You
uh
threw a paintbrush at somebody.
well, like yeah, like the NFL, they'll like send a couple of like people. They'll send like a couple of interns to like help with the paint and stuff. Help with like cleaning up the brushes and shit. And one of them said that he was a painter, and he started doing some weird shit over on one of my canvases, and like I like took the paintbrush from him, and instead of being like, hey man, could you not paint on my paintbrushes? It was just so late and I was so tired. I went over there and like took the paintbrush out of his hand. I didn't snatch it, but I was just like, it's just kind of like slowly reached over and took the paintbrush from his hand, and then fucking flung it across the fucking warehouse, and then
Yeah,
went
but
back
that
over
feels like,
and
a
went
Matt
back over and
Bahr
started painting.
a Matt Bahr kind of thing, like I'm at my limit, dude.
I'm like, dude, stop fucking touching my painting. And it was just like, should I go? I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds like a great idea. Go fucking go clean that up. That sounds like an awesome job.
Aussie
Then
strong.
yeah, dude, some dude was like, remember when they had the arson fires? Remember they had all the fires in
Oh
Australia?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was like their version, I guess, of like Boston strong, like after the
Yeah.
bombings.
They wanted to be Aussie strong. I was like, all right, that's
Gotta be
cool.
Aussie strong. Well, that's great. I hope you guys can't hear my stomach grumbling. Oh my
Are you
god.
hungry? All right, yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry.
No, I doubt any of the people watching give a fuck about any of this collegiate screen printing stuff.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate, I liked going over that because, like I said, I do like seeing how, different artists work and approach things.
Mhm.
And I really do appreciate you taking the time to discuss not only your artwork, but
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Ninja, because I was really impressed. I even reached out to Ethan. I was like, have you read this? Because it's really good. And
He's not gonna read it. He's locked in on Dino King. That's the fucking book of the year for him. So
well, I
unfortunately.
did back Dino King because if Ethan's giving it praise, I want to see what it's about and give my opinion on it, and so
Well, I know
we'll
you'll be
see.
honest. I know you'll be honest and fair.
I've read certain things where it's like, this kind of elements off. I do try to always find something positive.
Mm.
Like I said, I'm just that kind of kind of naive little can't we all get along kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
even if the thing's like, well, if it's complete garbage, I just won't do a review of it. It's like
Yeah,
I
it's better to just not just like
don't
spread-
want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But if there's some bad like parts to it, but I feel like I see some potential there. I do want to kind of highlight the positives, address
Mhm.
some of the negatives, and
Yeah.
hopefully, they can grow from there. That whole criticism thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like something you learn at like people are like art school sucks. Art school is a waste of time. But I think I like look back, I'm like, man, I think criticism, being
Yeah.
able to give it and take it might be like the biggest skill that you learn because you end up having to bring in your homework and putting it
Mhm.
on a wall, and then everybody in class gets to like shred it or praise it.
Yeah.
And then
It's got a
you
sting, man. You put a lot of
it's a
time into
a
something
little bit.
and
So, but you have to be like, oh, you can't just like shit on somebody else's because they may come around and shit on yours.
right.
But it's also the criticism of like you have to learn to be a little bit more critical of something beyond like, yeah, I think that sucks.
Right.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. It's like, can you elaborate on that? Like
Yeah,
what
you learn
part
to
of it?
yeah, like okay, well, explain why you think it sucks.
Yeah.
Elaborate why you think it sucks, and so it like causes you to be like, open. You know what I mean? Which then like makes you think about your own stuff because you're sitting there looking at your own stuff and like, okay, well, I don't want somebody to say this. Let me fix this. I don't want somebody
Yeah.
to say that. You know. So I
And
thought that was
there's
a good
kind
thing.
of like this unspoken rule, I think Ethan mentioned about around artists, like you don't really like to like critique other people's art a little bit,
I've
but
never heard that. The art departments that I've worked in, I've had people
yeah,
walk up behind me and are like, "What is that? A fucking
you
snowman
just
or a
take it
piece
and
of
like
shit?" Yeah, it's just like,
shred
what
it.
is that? What is that piece of shit? Like, why are you fucking drawing that? Like,
I think of that movie Whiplash with what's his name, where he's like, it's not my tempo.
yeah, he's like, okay, who's flat? Yeah, I know
Yes.
you're hungry, but yeah, I'm not that hardcore, but like, I get there. I'm just like, you're not fucking getting that snowman. You're not
I
drawing that
was
snowman right.
I have to say, when it was a while ago, like several months ago, when you were on a stream and you guys had John Malin on, and John Malin's just kind of sitting in the audience, and you guys were talking about the supplemental because it had just released and it was, kind of hyped
Mhm.
up and everything. And I was like, damn, like you weren't afraid to give your opinion. I really kind of respected
I
that.
like
And
John Malin's artwork, but I did not like that book. I don't know if he wrote it. He didn't draw it, but I was just like, holy fuck, bro. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I actually liked it a little bit better than like the first and second graveyard shift. And I'm not like really a superhero kind of person, but I felt like the heroes I kind of uh, could relate to them a little bit more. Although I don't know about like a big brawny guy and kind of like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I jumped in. I hadn't bought any of his previous books. You know, I was like, oh yeah, let me get this Omega Storm, and so I got that. So when I was reading it, I didn't really know who these like characters really
Yeah.
were. I was just kind of like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what fuck is going on? And then it like ends with like neck fucking, and I was
I literally said out loud, "Holy shit!"
I fucking threw that book away. I was like, man, I'm fucking done with this shit. I chucked it in the dumpster.
He's not afraid to push boundaries. That's for sure. And you're definitely not afraid to push some boundaries. Yeah,
I know you're hungry. I know
it's
you're
a
hungry.
spicy meatball. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you again. I really appreciate it. I hope that maybe like certain fences can be mended, but if not, I understand. Just don't stop being you. And
Anything's possible. You know what I mean? There's nothing that I'm just like, fuck you forever. I mean, it's what it is. It's, it could be fuck you today, hello tomorrow. I don't care.
Right. And have that beer. But I appreciate you because I know you had to take a couple zingers there from Clippa, and you were a good sport about it. So
I hope you got paid. That's all that matters.
I did get paid. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone in the chat. I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, Clippa and Katie did for the super chats. Really kind of you. Appreciate it. So I think with that, I will bid everyone farewell, and I will see you guys on the next stream. And buy Rock and Roll Ninja the next time it's in stock. Bye.
Zero sets off for me. I've had enough. Get the hell out of my house. In Jesus' name, I pray.